Picture this, two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Reel Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Reel Opposites. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And we're back again to discuss our movies that we chose last podcast.
Yes. We have a special guest.
Yeah, Travis.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
We're doing well, Travis. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, good. I'm doing good.
We're happy to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to our podcast. It's your first time.
Took long enough.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Josh
already
really
a diva.
Hey, now, that's my part.
For those of you who can't see us from home, Travis and Aaron are basically twins. So buckle up.
So you're on the podcast this time because Josh wanted you to endure Casino Royale as well.
Endure?
That's a strong word, but
It's really
Hey,
starting off the
he
podcast
uses-
on a good note here.
He uses all those words every time I show a movie or pick a movie. But anyways, for Casino or James Bond, because you hadn't seen a James Bond either. So we watched Casino Royale and Brainscan.
Okay.
So I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the movies.
Yeah.
Talk about Casino Royale first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let us know why that movie.
Why I
you
picked it?
Yeah.
Okay, so somehow y'all made it this far in life and never watched a James Bond movie, which just seems wrong on a lot of fronts. And in general, like, you know, Casino Royale is a great way to start because it is kind of like an origin in a way for Bond. Beyond that, it's up there with one of the best action movies of the last 20 years. Daniel Craig's terrific. Eva Green's amazing. As Vesper. Mads Mikkelsen. It's great as Lashif. So coming off of like 2002, they had Die Another Day, which was basically like a video game cutscene. It's Pierce Brosnan's last Bond movie. It's very like big and flashy and like a lot of poor CG and just, you know, not great. And so Casino Royale, they kind of take it back to basics. There's practical stunt work. It's suspense and it's more character driven. They brought in Paul Haggis, who wrote $1 Million Baby. So we had an Oscar-winning screenwriter co-writing the script, and they brought back Martin Campbell, who directed Pierce Brosnan's first film, Goldeneye, to direct. And it's like my second favorite Bond movie. My favorite is still On Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. But those two films actually share a lot of similarities. They're very character-driven and do not end on a happy note. But I just love Casino Royale. I watch it like probably once a year. It always works for me. I'm still in awe of like some of the stunt work and everything. I just love the chemistry between Bond and Vesper. That's why I love Casino Royale.
Okay. Those are good reasons, I feel.
yeah, that makes sense.
So Travis, how about you tell us what you thought?
Well, it was long, but I did have a little bit of fun with it. There were certain parts, like the parkour scene during the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of a chuckle about when the guy he's chasing goes through this like little hole, and he just straight up like Hulk smashes through the wall. Yeah, he just
smashes through the drywall.
Yeah.
It's great because like that's like an action beat that actually informs the character.
Yeah,
like it's like Bond's not going to try to do this fancy parkour. He's just going to go straight.
Yeah,
through it, you know.
And actually, that opening parkour chase took several weeks for them to film.
It did, and he was
could have did it in a day.
Forget his name.
You could have.
Yep.
Nice.
You could have really. Man, they missed out.
Should have known you were a stunt man.
Yeah, the guy who's doing all the stunts he was a world famous parkour.
Oh, okay. Legend.
Did they have
figure,
legends
I
for
don't
that?
know. Artist. I don't know where that stands. But,
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think it's Sebastian something is his name, but so they brought him on to do all that, and like like I said, like coming off of a lot of the CG stuff, that just ground chase level is like really refreshing. And even now, it's still just like, I don't know, exhilarating, I think.
I would actually say the opposite. I did not enjoy that scene.
Why?
Were you just bored?
Yeah. So I don't know why, but action movies to me are some of the most boring movies. They don't hold my attention. You would think it would be the opposite because there's so much going on
Yeah, it's
to watch. But I get so bored. It's hard to pay attention to an action movie. But I also think with this scene, I just think some stuff is ridiculous. Like the crane is in the perfect spot for it to work, and this is perfect for this to work.
but it's not.
They're like running on these small places where I guess only Travis and the stuntmen could do that.
Easy cake.
But they did. Well, it's like, and it's not perfect because Bond almost falls. Like he almost misses it.
Yeah.
It's just because the other guy's so
Well,
good.
yeah.
But they did. Like I was saying, like if you do it for real, then they did that. I mean, they're on wires, like in case they do
Right.
slip, but like they are walking on the cranes hundreds of feet in the air.
I guess that's true.
And it's
though.
like that's the thing about like practical stunt work is you can't fake it. You know, if you're up there on a scaffold or if you're jumping or doing a car flip or something, it's real.
Well, I guess I mean I didn't think of that, but I guess when you put it that way, yeah, it does. It's real because it did happen.
Yeah, I mean they're doing it.
So, but I mean, still, the crane was set up specifically for that, and
well, I mean, you got to suspend disbelief a little bit.
right. Well, it sure did. Speaking of the practical effects, real quick, I also read that there's a car where he flips the car. They used 3 cars to film that one scene, destroyed all of them. They were all $300,000 cars.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
That's a Bond movie.
$900,000 for one car flip.
But at the time,
It was a really long car
At the
flip.
time, it was the world record
Oh,
for
really?
a car flip in a movie.
Wow.
I forget how many times it flipped, but it was a world record.
How many flips?
Yeah, how many times it flipped.
Okay.
So I think it's been beaten since, but
Yeah.
it was.
It was a nice car flip. I mean, it looked good.
yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like he almost hits Vesper, and it's like,
Right.
It's really great. It's a great moment.
I that might be like one of my favorite scenes. I enjoyed that scene right there. It was good. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Continue.
Where
Travis.
was I? Oh, gosh.
Being run over by us. Welcome to the podcast.
I did actually enjoy that car flip, but after the casino part, I just thought that it should be over. And I don't know why. Like, it just
like
felt
after they torture him and all that. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of it's like an epilogue to the movies as opposed to like a real, because that is sort of the third act, but like emotionally, it's not quite the end of the movie. I mean, they could have kind of ended it there and then kind of started the next one. Yeah, like with their trip to Italy, I think.
I think so. Yeah,
that could have been like the opening, and then she dies in the opening.
Yeah,
that would have been kind of cool actually. But I I do like the way, because in the book she dies at the end, and
there's a book.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not know James Bond was based on books? Oh my God.
Yeah, they're by Ian Fleming.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're James Bond books.
They're based on who's the actor that inspired Bond? He's in Lord of the Rings.
I mean, Christopher Lee.
Yeah, Christopher Lee.
Well, Christopher Lee and Ian Fleming were cousins, I believe.
And Christopher Lee said to have his life and his military service is said to have inspired Bond. Yeah,
because Ian Fleming, I think he wanted to join the service but was unable to. I think maybe I'm wrong, or he did, and was discharged or something. But yeah, he was cousins with Christopher Lee, who later played a Bond villain in Man with the Golden Gun, one of the best Bond villains, Scaramanga. And so he probably did base a good bit of his like Bond on some of the stories that Christopher Lee had told him, because he was like involved in some very undercover like secret. Yeah. And then I know like Ian Fleming, when they started making the movies, like he wanted like Cary Grant to play Bond. But yeah, the book started in 1952.
And have we watched a movie with Christopher Lee in it for the podcast or something? Because we have discussed this before about Christopher Lee inspiring Bond.
Man, I'll bring up Christopher Lee anytime.
Okay, so maybe it was just an offshoot, which we did a lot.
We might have talked about Dracula.
We might have.
And he plays.
Yeah, he's one of the best Draculas.
That might have been exactly what we were talking about. Okay.
I mean, Christopher Lee ties into everything. He's in like 200 and some movies.
Oh, wow.
Most of them aren't any good, and he would have told you that.
So shocking news
He was getting
that you found out is
It's a
Bond is
book.
based on a book.
Yes, I did not know.
Welcome to pop culture.
Yeah. So other than that, how did you feel about the movie? No, actually before we go on with more of you, I will also hop in and say that I felt the same way. I mean, some of it could have been because this was a super long movie and I watched it in like 4 parts because I could not.
I had to watch it in two.
I could not do it.
couldn't.
But I
The
watched
movie is about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It's a long time.
It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. It felt like 4 hours actually. But my point is, it did get to a certain part, and it might have been the same. Like after the casino, after he wins the money or whatever, I was like, yeah, this movie's over.
Yeah, this was good.
And then like it went to a faded black screen, but no credits came up, and then it continued for like another hour, and I was like,
it felt like an hour.
okay, I think it was like 40 more minutes.
Yeah.
It's maybe about 30.
From the point I thought
maybe
it
about
was
25 or 30.
Well, anyways, point is, I agree with that in the fact that it did seem like it was going to end there, but they provided the rest of the story.
Yeah, I mean, you could have ended it earlier, but then Bond's arc doesn't really go anywhere.
Right,
To a
that's
certain
true.
degree. He
Yeah.
has to lose her to become the cold, kind of ruthless. I mean, he's not
Right.
that he's not ruthless, but he had to because he opened, like he says at the end of the movie, it's like she has all of him. Like he's quitting the service. He wants
Right.
to, live with her and happily ever after. And so, and to then have to learn what happened with her, where she had to, he was like her mark, and she
Right.
had to play him in order to save her boyfriend. But then she fell in love with him, and like real, you have to have like that real deep connection there for him to evolve as a character,
Right.
and to lose all of that is what Bond becomes.
Okay.
Like so, it's I mean, it is kind of an origin to where, because Bond generally is just no nonsense, doesn't get emotionally attached.
Right.
That's why the movies I like the most in the series are the ones where he is more emotionally vulnerable, like this and On Her
Right.
Majesty's Secret
There's
Service.
like more
and,
depth to it.
yeah, and License to Kill. Not that like Roger Moore bouncing around fighting Richard Kiel is not fun. It's a lot of fun, but like the ones that have a little bit more depth to them are more enriching.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get that, and admittedly, I kind of felt that when I first saw it. Like it seemed not like tacked on, but it felt like
It felt a little extra.
Yeah, it just felt
like a little
yeah.
extra. But I mean, watching it over the years, it just it's just the movie.
Right. And I will say, it's that last part could be some of my favorite parts, just for
Yeah.
the simple fact that that's when it really becomes character driven.
Yeah, more
And
story.
I really like a character driven story.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe what I don't enjoy as much about action movies is you don't get as much character development in a generic action movie.
Yeah,
You just get a lot of action.
That's
Which
true. I
For
mean,
some reason is hard for me to pay attention to. It doesn't take away from the action being good. It's not that, I mean, the action in this movie was great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
There were great scenes, that were action packed.
yeah.
It's just for some reason for me personally, it's hard for me to pay
That's
attention.
cool.
But that extra part definitely seemed tacked on a little bit to me, but it gave you that character driven story that I think was really nice
Yeah,
to
I mean,
wrap it up.
it gives you the resolution to Bond's arc and then to Vesper's,
Right.
his importance in Bond, which comes into play later on if you finish the Daniel Craig movies.
Are they finished with his movies?
Yeah. His last one was No Time to Die.
Okay, I didn't know if they were making any more after that one.
The next one, the next 3 are not as good as Casino Royale, but I thought No Time to Die was like a really great
Yeah.
ending.
But it set like you said, it sets him up as
Yeah.
the cold hearted Bond that
Yeah,
they're used to.
and in the next one,
And-
like he's like really just like he's like John Wick, like he's just
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
laser focused and just like taking.
Not that I know what that means, but
Well, I mean, he's like emotionless.
That movie.
It's like
it's
emotionless.
another action movie.
It's a great movie, and it's got some humor and stuff in it too. But like
Okay.
he's just emotionless and just going through the taking out.
Going through the motions.
But that's one of the things I love so much about Casino Royale is it is so character driven.
Mhm.
Like you, especially once you get a little bit past the first hour. Because the first
Yeah.
hour you have the parkour chase, and then you have the big airport scene, which I like because they actually it's an extended sequence, but you have the stuff where he's meeting up the one guy, and then at the like skeletal museum, and then it kind of extends into the airport chase, and then after that it really kind of slows down once you get into the actual casino and him and Vesper and their relationship. And
Yeah.
like that stuff, that's my favorite stuff in the movie. It's like the second half once you get into, so I find all that suspenseful, like when Lashif poisons him, and like, you know, the stairway fight, and like just their relationship is just like, sometimes people in a movie like this, there's just chemistry.
Right.
And it's just like, it just
Yeah, I
works,
think
and
they had
it's
good
just
chemistry.
fire. Like they're amazing together.
That was really good. And I will say, as far as where he gets poisoned and has to like bring himself back to life,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I did like that part.
Yeah, that was really good.
I know it was supposed to be super intense, and it, for some reason, intense moments also in action movies do not translate as intensity to me. But I'm able to respect the fact that I know it's an intense scene, but I did enjoy the scene even though it didn't feel intense to me.
Yeah.
But I like that, and how he was trying to save himself and they were trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
And there was just so much going on, and then she ends up saving him, actually.
Yeah, and they still, like, even though this is like kind of a more mature Bond movie, they still have that little button at the end of the scene where like she asks him if he's okay and whatever, and he's just like shakes it off and like kind of straightens his tie or whatever, and just kind of goes back in. And then the look on Lashif's face when he gets back, and it's just like, there's all these little moments that I just love, and it's just well written.
I did like I like that, and I liked some of the around the casino table scenes.
Yeah, those were good.
Those were good as well. So
Does like Bond with other Bond girls, is there like the same kind of chemistry in the other movies, or is
it depends on the movie and the act. I mean, some Vesper is probably like up there with like Diana Rigg from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So like those are the two best Bond girls in my, because they're really pretty much like three-dimensional characters. Like they kind of live and breathe in the film. They're not just, there is a tendency for them to just kind of be eye candy in some of the films, and then in some films you have like Michelle Yeoh, and she just, she's awesome. And like there's a lot of Bond girls that will often be like, spies on the other side or something.
Oh, okay.
But I would say like, those two, Vesper's probably the best, love interest for Bond. He typically has two in each movie. One of them will typically end up trying to kill him,
right,
and the other one he'll fall in love with.
So Vesper was kind of both this time.
That's
to
cool.
To a certain degree, yeah. I just love like the ending is kind of like heartbreaking to see him really give himself to her, and
then realize what's going on.
And realize what's going on, and to have it taken away, and he's angry,
Right.
at being vulnerable, and then M tells him what really was going on, and that's what I appreciate so much about the movie is just the writing and the character work. And it's really unusual in a Bond movie because, like I said, the last couple were they were still Bond movies and they're still fun, but they were just like
lifeless.
Yeah, like a bit like
Dead.
a bit like a commercial for the Aston Martin, or they got a little like toy commercially.
Yeah,
but they're fun. I mean, there's still a lot of great stuff in the movies, but I like the ones that are have a little bit more heft to them.
Yeah.
How did you feel? We talked about Mads Mikkelsen last week. I saw a comment this week. How do you feel about him?
Lashif, Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, yeah. What did we talk about him last week?
We were talking about him playing Hannibal.
Series.
Oh, that's the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even notice that was the same guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's amazing.
He's like...
He's Lashif, the main bad guy.
The guy at the table.
Guy with the
table,
eye.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He did good. So that kind of makes me excited to watch him as Hannibal.
He is so good as Hannibal.
Yeah. I could see him being. I enjoyed that character a lot in this movie.
Yeah, and I like that Lashif is not like this like diabolical, madman trying to like take over the world.
Not at all.
He's just like he's actually has people to answer to.
Right.
And he's at the casino just to get out of
his problems,
his debt. People he owes money to. So it gives him a vulnerability to a certain degree too.
Right.
I like that it's not just it's not just a crazy madman.
Right. And I feel like Mads Mikkelsen does a good job of bringing that in, even in just like the facials when they're playing poker.
Yeah.
What are they playing? Is it poker?
Yeah, it's poker, but
Okay.
it's like, yeah.
So, anyways, when they are at the table, and just like when he realizes what's going on here and there, and it was a lot of acting through his face, and I thought he really brought it that way, and I think that's awesome.
Like those kind of scenes are very difficult to film,
Right?
Like basically, anytime you have a bunch of people sitting around a table, it's like it's going to take forever to shoot those scenes. So they do a good job of like knowing when to cut in on a close up and when to hit a wide angle, and it just makes it really suspenseful, even though it's just people sitting at a table.
Right.
In the books and in most of the other movies, Bond plays Baccarat.
Yeah.
Instead of poker, but they played poker in this one because poker was really popular at the time.
Yeah.
So this was the first one for poker.
Yeah. And I think it's just easier for like people to
Understand.
know what poker
Yeah.
the rules in general.
So kind of off topic, but not. I did read that it also was the first movie in the 44 years of James Bond where it rains.
It rains?
What?
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't rain for 44 years?
Not in the movies. I don't know. I just thought that seemed interesting.
So the only time it rains in this is like when, like at the end when they're on their kind of little honeymoon thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, it's not rained in other Bond movies.
That can't be. Hold on, let me go flip through all the Bond movies in my head.
I just thought it was interesting.
It is really interesting. I thought it was weirdly graphic.
There are lots of articles about it. In 44 years, it's the first time that it rains in a Bond film.
Look at me bringing these mind-blowing facts to you.
That's insane. That's 20 other movies where it never rained.
Yeah.
They must have deleted.
Just stop the podcast. I'm just thinking about it.
I'm gonna
Josh's head is currently exploding because there are so many movies currently playing in it to see if he can catch a rain scene.
Even just a little dribble somewhere.
Yeah.
From Dr. No to Die Another Day in 20 films, it has never rained in a James Bond film.
What?
I mean, I don't know.
I know. I'm going through them in my head and I can't think of any.
and part of it could be because why do you need it to rain in a Bond film?
Rain is usually like to set atmosphere or something.
Right. But I feel like maybe in this type of action you don't need it.
That's weird.
So I feel like it was a conscious decision to use it.
Yeah, but you'd think like just statistically 20 movies in, like it would rain at some point. No, some scene.
No, they were always in the desert. Clearly, I haven't seen a Bond movie before this.
Wow.
Probably not after this.
I learned something today about a Bond movie. I didn't think it was possible.
Look at that. See?
Aaron bringing the facts today.
That's right. Straight facts.
So, Travis, what other thoughts do you have? We're dominating the conversation here, and
I thought it was way more graphic for some reason than I thought it was going to be.
We have to talk about the torture scene.
Well, I don't want to, but it's odd. I didn't think that was going to be in a Bond movie.
That's actually, I think that's how it is in the book. Or
maybe you need to read this book.
If it's in the book, they're electrocuting his testicles.
Oh,
but
oof.
I think the rope is worse. I think the rope is worse because they set it up like they drop it in the camera, like the end of the rope, the knot, and then it's the sound.
Right.
I remember seeing that opening day, and all the men in the audience were just like, oh, it was like a collective, like, oh,
yeah,
like, oh.
That would be painful for sure.
Like, this is not what I expected for this movie at all.
Yeah, and then it's like that was what was so refreshing about it is like it was like
it's not your normal.
It's a Bond movie, but it feels like an adult movie, like for adults. It's not made for kids to sell them Aston Martin toys.
Yeah,
you know, and I love that even in that scene they still have a little like Bond is still playing with him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, a little bit.
100%.
Like he's like a little bit to the left. He's like, I got an itch, you know, and then or whatever. You know, it's great. I love it. It's so fun.
It's definitely a different torture scene that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, no.
Usually they get slapped around or get a finger cut off or something like that.
It's an inventive way to torture someone.
100%. I feel like it would be very effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I would talk and give up everything.
I'd be like, actually, don't even swing it. I'll just go ahead. She's like, whatever you want. You want the password?
But it's like they do such a good job of just setting it up because they set it up like he cuts the bottom out of the seat.
Right.
You know, so you can visualize what is going to happen.
Right.
You know, it's Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, and then like the stuff with like the stairway fight's really intense.
Yeah, that-
I don't know. It's like the violence in the film is like it's purposeful. It's not just excessive.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And it hits. You know, it's not. It doesn't feel like, you know, because I think at this point, like this is like post Matrix and stuff. So it was a lot of like wire work and everything. This was just like down and dirty, kind of like going back to From Russia with Love and like a lot of the Connery and the Dalton films where it's very just hard hitting.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that even Bond himself like was taking everything in and having to deal with it mentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all I'd ever seen about Bond was that he just stone cold, never cared.
Yeah. He's just like,
Yeah.
gets out of the rebel, straightens his tie, and just goes, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
goes to seduce a woman or something.
And then
you know,
this movie, he's standing there and he's like washing his face off in that one scene.
Oh, yeah.
He's covered in blood.
yeah, after the stairway fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh.
yeah. I mean,
You just see it on his face.
yeah, and like it just makes the violence more intense.
Yeah.
and more meaningful. It's after the stairway fight, after he washes his face off, and Vesper's crying in the shower, you know, and she like that tender little moment, which was actually improvised.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was not originally going to go into the shower, but they just kind of came up with that on the day, and I think it's one of the best moments in the film. It's very tender,
Yeah.
and to see that side of Bond, even if you just look at this movie, it's like that's a big moment for him.
Yeah.
To like
That-
give in to her and her feelings and be there for her. I mean,
Right.
that's a big moment.
And that
I'm gonna cry.
more facts. Oh, no, don't do it now. More facts. That scene was actually shot in one take. The whole shower scene.
Wow.
And originally it was scripted that she would be wearing nothing but underwear.
Yeah.
But Daniel Craig argued that Vesper would not have stopped to take her clothes off to sit in
Yeah.
the shower and cry.
Yeah.
So it was changed that she was just in, which I think is more impactful.
It
Oh yeah,
is,
because
yeah.
they're both still fully clothed.
Right.
Like they just.
It is more of a breakdown moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you have time to take your clothes off, then get in the shower and cry, like
Yeah, and it's
it's
like
not
you
as
know,
impactful.
Yeah.
She's talking about how she's still got blood on her hands. She's tried to wash it. It's just still there, and he takes her finger and like, you know, sucks the blood off, and it's like it's
That was
very-
really disgusting. Actually,
That was
I
a
found
little
that
bit
Oh, I
quite
thought it was
disgusting.
I thought it was terribly romantic and
I mean, it is, but it's also really gross.
I like the gesture,
Who-
but it's
whose blood was it?
Well, I mean, they're washing
what
it off anyway.
may have they had? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not going to suck blood off anybody's finger. Okay,
That's
not happening.
fair.
I would have maybe held her hand better under the water because she was not good enough at washing her hands.
Put some soap on it, but
But I'm not taking the blood in the mouth.
okay.
but it was romantic. I get that.
Yeah,
But so it would have been like holding her hand more under the water.
yeah. Okay.
But also, I don't know if it's during that scene when they're talking about that, or it's a different scene where we were talking about his vulnerability, but where she says something about like, you don't even care. Like, you can just kill these people and not care. And he says,
I wouldn't be very good at my job if I did.
I wouldn't. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in a way, you know, he's just brushing it off. But I think in that scene, you can kind of tell he's also telling the truth. Like, it's not that he doesn't care, it's that he can't care.
Yeah, to do his job properly, he can't
Right.
get emotionally invested in the people he's working with or the people
Right.
he's targeting. You know, he has to just shut off. You know, they meet and she brings that out of him, and
Right.
he's, you know, for the first time sees a life beyond the service. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't
But
know.
I thought that was a good moment of, you know, short dialogue, like 2 or 3 sentences that really showed his vulnerability as well.
Yeah.
It's the efficiency
While showing
like,
his like toughness.
yeah, the writing is so efficient and just
Right.
like, you know, gets the point across.
It is very well written.
You know, I'm not trying to tear down all your love for the movie. When I say that it was hard for me to get through, or that I watched it in 4 parts, or that it lost my interest a lot, that is because it's an action movie. As far as the writing and, like I said, the scenes that, I mean, they were well done. I'm not great at watching action films kind of thing. It wasn't
Yeah,
something
no,
specifically
I get
about
it.
this movie, but this movie did have a lot of good writing. It had a story once it got to that part.
Yeah.
And I think it did a great job of portraying the story they were trying to show.
Yeah.
So I think the message that they were getting through, or that they were trying to get through, definitely comes through very clearly.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it was well done.
Travis?
I wouldn't probably never watch it again, though.
You should make him watch a bad action movie.
yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
You
I might
should
have
watch
you-
Transformers.
I've seen Transformers.
I wouldn't subject him to that.
I've seen most of those,
Would you subject yourself to?
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I have. I'd probably recommend you like Commando or something that's like just really cheesy and fun.
Sounds like a war action
I love
movie.
Commando.
No, I love Commando too, but it is cheesy fun.
It
like
is.
it's
Yeah.
But
it
it's
is-
a war action movie, isn't it?
no, it's not. A
Oh, is
war
it not?
I mean, it's like
Why am I picturing?
it's Arnold, and it's like one man against
I thought
army.
like four.
I thought I was
Commando's
just
good.
like mows down 200 guys.
I thought I was picturing a poster that is like camo and then it has a dog tag. Is that a different movie, I guess? Remember, I don't watch
That's-
movies, but for some reason I
I
remember
think that's
posters.
Jarhead's
This is the
poster.
Or is that the
poster
Marine?
movie picture.
Oh, okay.
I think
I
that
have
sounds like
seen
the
that too.
Jarhead poster
It might be.
that's a very different movie.
Why I remember movie posters all the time, I do not know.
But,
Don't watch them.
Yeah, I would maybe something like
I don't
that,
watch
like
them.
Commando or something. I would
Okay.
recommend. But Travis,
Yes.
any more thoughts on Casino Royale? Like, you have like any particular?
I like the transitions that they did in when they were playing poker
Mhm.
and how you could tell that time had passed, but
Hmm.
it didn't feel like it took forever.
Yeah, I can see like there's like a dissolve,
Yeah.
and then they like a couple of them maybe have their jackets off, where you can tell they've
Yeah.
had drinks, and you can tell their stack of chips and
Mhm.
stuff. You know, yeah,
Good eye. That actually was a good thing that I noticed as well. So
yeah. Usually dissolves will
Mhm.
indicate a passage of time
okay.
in movies.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Just saying. I mean, not always, but it's a good way to just kind of like, I don't know,
Something's happened.
subconsciously just tell you that time has passed.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, usually hard cuts are very centered on action or dialogue. You know.
So I know you mentioned a couple different scenes. Do you have what you would say is like your favorite scene in the movie?
Probably right after he got poisoned, actually.
When he comes back and he wins.
Mhm. Yeah. He was using borrowed money, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had run out of money
Yeah.
on that the British service had given him. Leiter had put up, I don't know, however many millions.
He just kind of approached him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
To be
yeah,
like,
to-
hey, you have a better chance.
yeah, to use the CIA, I think CIA's money
hmm
to play against Lashif instead, because Felix says he was bleeding chips.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter too. He's great.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's a character who has been in a lot of the Bond movies, usually played by different actors.
Oh, okay.
Even starting in the first, I'm pretty sure he's in Doctor No, and so it was really cool. I really liked him in the role, and I liked that they gave that character, because he's usually just like a throwaway character. Like he comes
Yeah.
kind of like Q. I mean, Q's great, but like he just kind of comes in and is a plot device, more or
Right.
less. Which, by the way, Q is not in this movie, so. But you guys probably don't know what Q is.
No.
Okay, he's the guy that gives
He's
them all the
kinda like-
gadgets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I will say that I kept looking for gadgets.
Yeah, there wasn't
it's
any.
very- that-
Because I would say that was one thing I was kind of looking forward to seeing was
Yeah.
some neat little
The cool
gadgets.
stuff, yeah.
you
And-
might like some of the older movies where they're very, especially like the Roger Moore, or where they're very gadget driven, get kind of silly and
Yeah, I
outlandish.
probably still wouldn't like it, but but I just thought the gadgets would be like a small part that I wouldn't like.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to see what they came up with, but they did have the gadget when he's saving his own life.
Yeah, they did have like
Yeah,
a
he stuck a
defibrillator,
needle
and the
in,
needle,
and
yeah.
it was something that they could like run test on him from
Yeah.
far away.
And the car's kind
That
of a
was pretty
gadget
cool.
too. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah,
It doesn't really
It
do
is souped up.
Yeah.
It's got racing seats and things like that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah. The cars were,
And then they crashed 3 of them. So
Yeah.
well, you can't win them all.
that's true. So Josh, do you have a favorite scene in this movie?
I mean, there's a lot. Like I said, the shower scene is definitely up there. There's so many little moments. I mean, I love the action stuff. The action stuff's amazing, especially like the opening parkour chase. And I love the sinking building in Venice. That's really cool. And they really did that. They really sunk a building.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's crazy. That's what I mean.
I
It's
didn't
like
know that.
it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little CG and even then, it's like miniature work. In the airport scene, there's a scene where the huge plane is coming out of the hangar. That's a miniature,
Oh, okay.
and they put little people. They put them in the hangar, but
Superimposed them.
that's all
Dang,
miniature.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so even then, they're just like not going the cheap route, But anyway, like I said, the shower scene, I love their whole scene where they're kind of falling in love, and that's just really sweet. There's a little moment before they go down to the first game, and she's picked out his suit and everything, and he's like trying on his suit for the first time. I think
Yeah.
they play a little bit of the Bond theme, like a little, and you know, because it's probably like it's one of the first times that he's probably like been like dressed up in a suit,
Right.
you know, in a nice tux and very fitted, and she sized him up, and I think it's really cute, and the way she looks at him, and they look back and forth. It's just like little moments like that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that was a good scene for character development.
Yeah, and
because like he has picked out a dress for her, I think, and then he doesn't expect that she would have picked something out for him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of taken back about it. He's like, well, I already have what I'm going to wear.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then you can see in his eyes, like, he's like, this does work kind of thing when he puts it on. So that was
Yeah, because he comes back in and he's like, it's tailored.
Yeah.
And she's like, I sized you up. But I love the moment where he's, you know, he gives her the dress, and because he says like, because when you enter, I need everyone to look at you and be distracted and won't think about the game, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so then she entered. I don't know. I just love this movie so much.
I mean, if I had to pick like an action scene, I do think the car roll was. I like that.
That was cool.
That little scene leading up to that, he's like racing there, and then she's in the road, and he has to slam on his brakes and swerve, and it causes him to flip like crazy. And it's a good done. It's a good done.
It's a good done
It's a
scene.
good done. You know, one of them there good duns. It is a well done
Them
scene.
Duke boys, they done flipped it.
Just a little bit of mud suck, sorry, y'all. But yeah, I think it's a well done scene, and I think action wise, that was probably one of the exciting scenes for me. And like I've already said, I enjoyed the scene where he was trying to save his own life.
Yeah,
It was just
cool.
interesting.
It's kind of like a little bit like a Hitchcockian scene, a little bit.
Right.
Just the way it's played, very small but intense.
I was very worried when it opened up and it was black and white, and I was like, "Oh, this movie is about to be old." Because I didn't look at what year it came out. I was like, "This movie is about to be
Even
so
though Daniel
old."
Craig's in it.
Yeah.
How did Daniel Craig time travel back to 1956?
This movie is about to be old.
Skills.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
But I
Just
love
the
how
opening.
talking about the opening. I love that it's black and white, and I love how it sets up the tone of the movie right away.
Right.
It
It's
does,
like
yeah.
this Bond is like he's no BS. He is, you know, they have that intense fight in the shower in the bathroom, and then you know he just takes out the dude right away. That's cue to one of my favorite Bond songs. You Know My Name by Chris Cornell. Great credit. I love the opening titles too.
Yeah.
The silhouettes and the cards and everything. You know
I will say I felt like that was a little longer than it needed to be, though.
what?
The opening thing there.
The titles,
sequence.
the opening sequence. It's only like 4 or 5 minutes.
That is way too long for a title.
Did you feel it was long? I didn't feel that was that long.
Yeah, I did. I felt like it was long.
Okay,
I may have fast forwarded through a little bit of it.
Aaron. Travis, you're taking this place. I swear to
Just
God.
the opening titles. It was
That's
animated.
actually a big part of the like.
That's a
I watched it.
That's a big part of Bond movies is the opening titles.
Look, first of all, I
And for
watched
one
the
thing,
first
that's
minute.
a great song too. Like it's not like some of them are not that great. That's one of the
Well,
best Bond songs.
I watched like a minute of it, and then I just put it on slow fast forward. So I watched it. I just watched it a little faster.
Put it on slow.
And
The part of the movie that's like you should really listen to this song. And you're like fast forward.
Well, I still heard it. It was just a little sped up.
You're okay. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're gonna fix it.
Are you gonna have him watch the whole titles?
3 minutes. We can say.
No much. Yeah. What are you? What is it?
What's the name of this song?
You Know My Name by Chris Cornell.
Aaron probably wishes like "Say My Name" by Rihanna or something.
There we go. Is that a?
It's
Say
not
My
a-
Name is Destiny's Child.
Oops. I can't believe I did that.
Like there's a difference.
I was like instantly rolling through my
Yeah.
mental Rolodex, and I was like, "Say my name."
I can't believe I said "Say My Name" by Rihanna.
Yeah.
I just love the titles and like I don't know.
Beautiful.
No, I mean it's nice.
It's cool.
It's just
Definitely have that old spy film kind of feel.
Yeah.
Like Cowboy Bebop does, and
Mhm.
Archer pulls from.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
the
I
animation.
feel.
Yeah, Archer's heavily inspired by like the early '60s Bond movies. You know the.
Is this like almost done so we can move along with the podcast?
I think we're about halfway.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, going back to that torture scene, I
Oh,
feel
man.
like I just endured my own torture scene. Having to watch 4 minutes of credits, not
It's not
on
credits; they're opening titles.
What,
Well,
That's a big part of Bond movies is the song and the titles.
either that or a
'Cause
whip.
it's-
I think I'd take the credits.
Yeah,
Well,
Just
maybe
saying.
also
I mean,
that.
because the opening titles in Bond movies are, it's art. They're beautiful to look at.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Usually
nice.
the songs are really good. And,
I just enjoyed it at a faster pace.
okay.
Which, if it makes it any better, I also don't like opening credits in any movies.
You like the Golden Girls opening credits?
Well, that's a good song, though.
It is a good song.
That's a good song, but you know my name is. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts on Casino Royale?
I'd say all in all, it was a good movie. Like
Okay.
it was not what I expected at all. Because
So you kind of expect like the more traditional Bond movie, like a cheesy.
yeah, I just expected it to be it had way more depth than I thought it was gonna have.
Okay. It's kind of the exception to the rule with the Bond movies. That
Okay.
they're not all like this.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It definitely did have more depth than I would have expected as well. I can't say that I didn't enjoy it because there were parts that I enjoyed. I think it's a great movie for people that like those type of movies. I think it's a fantastic movie for that.
Yes.
I just don't like those type of movies.
That's
so
fair.
I think that's where most of my resistance comes from is I can't get into them.
I wish
But
it was
for what it
shorter.
was. Oh, I do wish it was shorter.
I wish it was
A little
shorter, but I don't know where you would cut anything to make it shorter.
It's a pretty
bit. The
tight
cut
movie.
scene, the opening scene.
He's to cut them opening credits down.
I'm just teasing a little bit.
That wouldn't have helped enough to
No, it wouldn't have.
make it short enough.
Would
Like,
either of you? So this is your first Bond movie. Would you watch another Bond movie?
well, I have the whole collection, so I probably should.
You should watch a few of them. I mean,
I will just go on the record saying this is my first Bond movie, and it's probably my last.
okay,
Not that it wasn't bad, but it was painful.
okay. What if Britney sings the song to the next one?
Oh yeah, for like her and Elton John get on it.
I'm pretty sure like they went to her for like maybe Die Another Day. Probably they ended up going with Madonna. But I feel there was probably rumors. It's one of the worst Bond songs.
Or what if she's a Bond girl?
No.
Yeah,
Who, Brittany?
yeah. She's acted before. Crossroads.
20 years ago.
Okay, she is matured.
She might honestly be
No,
better.
I don't
actually-
mean that. I don't mean it that way. I mean just like she hasn't acted
She was also in Austin Powers Goldmember.
the same year.
She was was it?
It's 2002.
Was she one of the fembots?
Yes,
Yeah,
she was, and her
the
head
opening
explodes.
titles with Steven Spielberg and like I don't forget who else is in those opening titles of Goldmember.
Oh no, Beyonce's in that movie.
Yeah, she's Foxy Cleopatra.
Yeah. That could make it interesting, though. I'm just saying.
I know it would. Just put Britney in anything. I know what she did last summer remake with Britney instead of Sarah Michelle Gellar or something. I don't know.
Not instead of Sarah, though. Slow your roll.
I said, hold up.
Maybe instead of Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll replace her. It's fine.
Are you making the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that
It's a
Mothman movie.
remake. It's a remake. I'm gonna shoot it locally. Anybody want to be an actor? But it's gonna have Brittany and
Yeah, it's gonna have
Okay.
Britney.
Sarah.
That's what you're
Brittany and
saying.
Sarah, and then just
She's-
local people.
She's gonna come to a local movie in West Virginia. Sure.
That's what you're spending the whole budget on. Is just
You
the
never know.
You don't need a Vegas show and you can do that.
Right.
Or whatever.
it's gonna film it on the mound.
Yeah, on the mound.
That's where the final fight scene happens. Well, I
All right.
guess I think that kind of brings us to the wrap up of Casino Royale. So
Okay.
we will have a few messages about the library,
Okay.
and then we will come back and talk about Brainscan. All right, guys. As always, we have a few announcements from the library. We have some events coming up in November. November 5th will be our Festifall, which is an arts and crafts festival here in our auditorium.
November 18th, we're part of our Real Readers program for teens for visual literacy. We're going to be showing Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men, starring Henry Fonda. It's a classic film, and I think once the kids get into it, they'll really enjoy it. But yeah, we'll be doing that November 18th at 5:30.
Sounds like it would be fun. I think it's a neat program for kids. You know, you're watching a movie, but you're learning things as well about movies and visual literacy. So, okay. So if you are a young adult in that age range, or if you have children in that age range, definitely check out that program. And continue to follow us on all social media for future events that we'll be having here at the library. Now we're back from those delightful messages. and we are going to discuss Brainscan, which is what Travis and I chose for Josh. We chose it for Josh because he hadn't seen it. I still can't believe you had never seen it.
Yeah, I'm really
but-
surprised about that, actually.
Yeah, like I always remember seeing the video at the store with pretty much I think the same cover that's on the Blu-ray, where it's like
Yeah.
With Trickster on it?
Trickster, and then it's
Yeah.
like a red, like I don't know, kaleidoscope
Yeah.
effect or something.
Right.
But I just never checked it out. It's just one of those that escaped. I didn't,
Oh,
I didn't see it.
So, Travis, what was your reasoning? Why did we choose this movie?
Well, Josh has been turning down the movie I keep on telling him that he should watch. So at least I gave him a movie that is good.
Wait a second.
What's the movie?
Slow your roll.
Hmm.
What's the movie that I won't watch?
Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's a good movie.
I love a good Thanksgiving horror movie.
Yeah,
They're
they're-
all atrocious.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
few and far
Have
between.
you seen the? I mean, I've watched clips of it on YouTube.
I've seen Thanksgiving.
That was
That's
enough.
That was enough. That was enough.
It's a good
I'd rather just
movie.
watch the Thanksgiving trailer that's in Grindhouse because it's much better.
So basically, since he wouldn't watch that one, and you were coming on the podcast, you thought I can definitely make him watch this one.
Yeah, because at least it's cheesy, but there's still at least a story that isn't.
It's also a movie. Like it's a real movie.
Thanksgiving is a movie. It has a sequel too.
It's not a bunch of dudes who are like, "Hey, let's shoot a movie this weekend."
All right. I
It does
will
look
say,
like a senior
up
like
there-
seminar class.
Up there, I found a list. Thanksgiving, Blood Freak. is
Oh
a
yeah,
good,
yeah, Blood Freak. Oh, it's
Thanksgiving one.
oh, what is
Blood Rage.
Oh,
is a
okay.
Blood Rage?
good
I've seen Blood
Thanksgiving one.
Rage. Oh, there's another one, isn't it? Like, it's not the Mutilator. Maybe I'm thinking of Blood Rage. I get the
Mutilator's great, but that's not.
And it's not
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, Blood Rage. I've seen Blood Rage.
However, can we talk about the Mutilator song real quick? Going on a.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember the movie? It's great. Sorry. All right.
Also, one of the best kills ever in a movie,
Wow.
like the chainsaw kill, where he gets like chainsawed in the stomach,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, for like a
Sound like
solid
a
like
dying
50,
llama.
50 seconds. It's like just this one shot of him just going, oh.
So
great.
Thanksgiving has a sequel.
Yes, it
but
does.
It's Thanksgiving 3.
It
because
does.
They didn't want to make a Thanksgiving 2. Keep it weird.
Mhm.
That's pretty funny. It's funnier than the movie itself, probably.
All right. Well, anyway, back
You're
to
not wrong, but it's a good movie. I like it.
So I don't know where we were.
I thought I'd recommend Brainscan because at least there's more to it than like Thanksgiving has, I guess. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well,
Like
Well,
a
I think-
cinematographer, a writer, a producer.
hey, there's
like
a
actual
really
actors.
there's a good song in Thanksgiving called "Billy Billy Billy," which is about Billy being dead.
who would have guessed?
Wow.
I think so. So Brain Scan is a 1994 movie, I think.
I was 1 year old. Yep.
And
I
it's
was
basically
unalive.
like a horror suspense kind of movie that is based on a game controlling someone's mind.
Yeah.
Which actually,
It's a bit ahead of its time.
A little bit, yeah.
and it actually was based on an actual computer game, Brainwaves.
Yeah.
And then after the movie came out, it was released in Europe as Brain Scanners. I've never played it, but now I kind of want to.
Oh, there's an actual game?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess the movie was based on a game called Brainwaves,
Watch out.
Oh.
Aaron buys this game. Lock
Yeah.
your doors.
right? So
Some
I
weird deformed guy with red mohawk is going to
come out of your TV.
make you go kill people.
Right.
Or think you may
Um,
make you go kill people.
Oh.
So-
Hold on. While we're touching, I would just want to bring something up.
Oh, I didn't know we were
I'm
touching.
sorry. While we're touching on that, on it being like a weird horror movie. So back during the Satanic Panic, there was a movie called
like a concert.
Mazes and Monsters.
Hmm.
And this reminded me of that, but this is like a funny take. That was a straight up serious Dungeons and Dragons and video games turn you into like a satanic being.
Mhm.
And so it had Tom Hanks.
Oh wow.
Heard of
It was a
that.
made for TV.
Must
80s
be
flick.
hurting for money.
It was very
was
young.
probably
This is like
starting out.
This is
Very
pre-bosom
It's
boy.
about basically how like video games and board games and stuff turn you
A worshiper of Satan.
A worshiper
Yeah.
of Satan's. 4 players in a dangerous game, risking their hearts, their minds, and their lives.
Jumanji.
So,
There's a crossover.
Right?
I'd like
There
to
we
say
go.
that like
Just
I
a
was,
Ouija board, but it's Jumanji.
Yeah.
Then you
I
end
was
up in
a-
hell.
I was a little bit
Nice.
Then you're interested in Doom.
like,
Basically.
I would watch that.
I'd watch
movie,
that out of that.
Right? a
I
little
wasn't
bit of
sure where
everything.
this would go. Is essentially what I was gonna say. If it was gonna go like heavy, funny vibes, or if it was gonna be like a serious movie about evil video games.
Well, I think that's the fun in this movie, and that's the reason I picked it. I remember I didn't watch a lot of horror movies as a child, and I remember seeing this when I was young. Yeah, I know, right? I remember seeing this when I was young, and I don't know how or why I saw it, but I remember it just being like you had the murder scenes, which were pretty cool, and then you had like funny stuff, and it was just kind of thrown together in a fun movie because, I like my murder to be fun. So I also remember there were years where I would try to talk to people about this movie, and nobody in the world would
knows
remember
about it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the name, and this must have been like before Google was easy to use, but because I could never find it either. Now I just type in like video game killer movie with red
It's like the first thing that
man,
comes up.
and it's brain scan. But I don't know. That's why I chose it. And I have not seen it since this is probably the second time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
This is only my third time seeing
Yeah.
it, second or third.
And that's kind of why I also picked it, because I was excited to rewatch it and see if I
Okay,
liked it as
that's cool.
much. But I just thought maybe it would be a movie that you would at least somewhat enjoy.
Yes.
No, yeah. I
Didn't want to torture you.
No, I was happy you picked this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why I thought even though it's like 1994, it feels like late 80s.
It does. It feels very
Like,
80s.
it has it's like, I guess it's just in that sweet spot before, like, the internet kind of becomes
up.
so dominant. Like,
Right.
this is pre Windows 95. But it still has this like 80s vibe. It was like written by Andrew Kevin Walker, by the way, who ended up writing Seven.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
And,
I like that movie.
He's worked a lot with Fincher. He wrote The Sleepy Hollow
Mhm.
with Johnny Depp, the Tim Burton movie. And there's a really cool interview with him on the Blu-ray too, which was really good. But anyway, it feels like an 80s movie. I did enjoy it. It was different than what I expected. I don't know. I didn't expect it to be it's not like super thoughtful film, but like
Right.
it has some cool concepts that were, at that time, like kind of VR and video games were kind of like still in like the developmental phase of like
Right.
Yeah.
becoming what they are now, which is like, you have an
Crazy.
entire world
Yeah.
that's almost just as in depth and real as this one.
Mm-hmm.
How that was somewhat scary.
Right.
Like, what if this fell into the wrong hands?
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
So I liked that about it. I liked the trickster guy he's memorable.
He's a character.
He's something.
He's something.
I thought Edward Furlong did a really good job. He's mostly from T2,
Mm-hmm.
which you've never seen.
No.
Terminator.
You haven't seen T2?
He hasn't seen the first Terminator. He
I haven't
hasn't
seen
seen
T1 or T3.
Probably hasn't seen. No, you haven't seen Predator or.
Not Predator? Have you seen Aliens?
I've seen one of those, I
Okay.
think.
Anyway, brain scan. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. Trust me, we'll keep going on this.
It's
for-
a
for long
long,
time.
dark place. to
There's a lot
fall
of movies I
down.
haven't seen, but I love horror movies, so I've seen a ton of them.
So yeah, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed that aspect of it, kind of how it talks about the role that violence in media plays on children, and it's not coming from like that. Oh, violence is terrible.
Right,
It's
yeah.
just, but it is kind of at the forefront of the movie. I don't really know if it has a whole lot to say about it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah,
of
I
it
mean,
makes you think about it.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
and it's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it doesn't really like I said, it doesn't really have like a message.
Mhm.
It's just like, hey, think about this.
Yeah.
Which I like. I don't like movies that really shove it down your throat like what
Right.
it's trying to say. And it was like a real movie. It was well made for the most part. Like it's 94 and it's a low budget, so it's like, and they try to do some stuff with like some early CG stuff that doesn't really.
Yeah, some of it's not great.
It's like what is it? It's like something. Like they're like something's going into Trickster or something.
So you're probably
There's some,
talking
like-
about the scene where when he goes to kill his neighbor, the neighbor girl, and they become one person.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, that
And,
looks
and
really
the
rough.
trickster's like sucking him into his
Yeah,
soul.
so that is like, it's like really cheap. Which, I mean, morphing had been around since T2, so
Right.
Yeah.
but I don't think they quite had the money that T2 had.
No, for sure not.
So even like 3 years later, it's still like, that would have been a better effect if they'd done it like Nightmare 2, where Freddy comes out of Jesse's body and it's like all practical effect. That would've
Anything
been
talk
really-
about Nightmare 2. I love Nightmare 2.
Nightmare 2 is amazing.
Yeah.
I've probably not seen it.
It's awesome.
would love
You would
Nightmare
love
2.
it.
I did just watch Freddy vs. Jason.
That's fun.
I mean, I've
That's
seen
a
it
good
before.
movie.
Yeah.
I rewatched it with some friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with anything.
I don't know
But
why. For some reason, I love the scene in Freddy vs. Jason. Or like, what's her name?
Kelly Rowland is
Kelly
texting.
Rowland is.
Oh,
she's like
gosh.
taunting.
Oh, yeah.
God,
Freddy.
yeah.
And he's like. He like points to the back, and it's like Jason there's like, whoa, and it just like
Yeah.
knocks her 40 feet into a tree. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
That was a good scene. So
Anyway,
the
Brainscan.
deleted scene on Brainscan, the one that
The
they
only
have,
one.
yeah, is actually the same scene that you're talking about. It's in the bedroom when they become one person. The original thing was they turned into this weird looking creature.
Oh,
It was like he comes up from under the bed or beside the bed. He fell down, and it's like it had two faces, and
it's
it
like
was
the-
like
Oh, cool.
slimy.
like the thing or something
A
almost.
little bit, yeah. that's what it
Yeah,
sounds
it's
like.
Okay.
And like it's crawling up on the bed, and she's just like no, and kicking it, and then it falls over, and that's like the end of the deleted scene. But they,
That
because-
sounds better.
yeah,
That sounds really cool, actually.
It
Should've
was
watched the deleted
creepier.
scene.
Yeah, it was creepier because in the one they end up using, it just ends up being the kid, but with like half his face kind of tore up or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting
I'll have to check that out.
that they cut the monster-ish part of it.
Yeah, as far as like it's a pretty tame movie.
Trickster gives me heavy Howie Mandel from Little Monsters.
Exactly.
vibes.
I was
Yeah.
just about ready to say
Yeah.
that.
It's on that kind of level.
Yeah. Just like maybe a little more vulgar, I guess. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie. I mean, it's cool seeing Frank Langella. He's a great actor. I was surprised he was in the movie.
He's the
He's like the
Top main-
principal,
oh.
I think, of the school.
Oh,
yeah, he's
okay,
the
okay.
or detective. He's the detective. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
He
what I was
comes-
thinking.
He comes across like a
detective.
principal for some reason, but he's the detective. Maybe I'm thinking of it from Junior from the same year. But yeah, I liked. It was nice to see because he's like a like classically trained actor is really
Right.
great actor, and
Yeah, he was good in this movie.
yeah, I mean, I like the concept. Like, it was kind of fun, just like the '90s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this kid has all this stuff in 1994, and it's like he's got a widescreen CRT TV that
Right.
he does all this.
It
on.
was
He's
really
got-
big, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got just a widescreen TV at all. in
And then like the
1994,
voice
but-
activated assistant
Yeah, and it's
in
like
his computer.
yeah, it's like what reality are you living in?
Yeah.
In 1994,
Right.
But it's like they'd always do that, like where it would just be stuff that was completely unattainable.
Right.
to any, to most,
Weirdly, we have it all now.
yeah. Well, yeah, but like then it was just like there's no way this kid has all
Right.
this stuff. It's too cool.
Yeah.
And it's like he's got like a PC that's built like tore down, like the monitor's torn down, and
hmm
it's just like if like a 14-year-old computer nerd had like designed a room, it would be
That exactly.
yeah.
And it's
He's
like-
got like his giant speaker sitting right next to
Yeah.
his,
And I
his
think
chair.
one of the reasons he ends up ordering the game, because his friend tells him about it and then he orders it, is the fact that he has everything. He's done everything.
yeah.
So this one supposedly controls your brain a little
Yeah, it's
bit or
like-
whatever. So
it's
he
like-
has to play it.
It's like the games are an addiction, so he has
Right.
to up it.
Right.
You'd think this kid wouldn't be such a loser since like he has all this cool stuff.
He's a
that he
gaming
wouldn't
nerd.
be such a loser.
Yeah, he feels like a little bit of a loser.
He is. He
mean-
has the one friend.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, his friend, the
His
guy that
friend's
played
weird.
him, Jamie Marsh, was 27 in
Was
that
he?
movie.
He did not look 27.
He played that teenager Kyle, and he was 27. I thought that was wild.
It's a little weird.
Remember, like playing video games back then was not
Not
socially
cool.
acceptable.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
that's
mean,
true.
Now, like,
Remember, I wasn't alive.
I mean, all my friends play video games, so I guess we're all nerds.
but,
That's what I was going to say. I don't know that playing video games make you cool these days either. It's just
Well, I mean,
you hang out with like
I mean,
kind.
okay. Yeah.
I mean, a
They
lot of
were
people
fun.
game like even if they're not like hardcore, like have a super souped up PC or something.
Right, that's
like,
true.
People game on their phones all the time.
That's
and,
true. It's a
Yeah.
lot
There's-
more accessible.
Well, yeah, and like mobile games are so
Yeah.
big.
I'm on level
Whereas, like,
2000 on one of my mobile games.
what?
Candy
I'm on
Crush.
level 2000 on one of my mobile games.
Wow, it's a lot. What?
the early '90s was.
Oh, it was the
something
Game
that
Boy.
wasn't
It was the brick.
attainable, and
Yeah.
It was a brick. It was like 8 pounds.
Right.
You could kill somebody with it.
Oh, for sure.
And it, it was just like one step up from like those little cheap games you find at like a dollar
yeah.
store
Like
or
one
something.
game
Yeah.
in it,
Yeah,
one
it's
level,
like the Mortal Kombat 2, but
Yeah.
it's this little
Little
gray thing.
digitized squares.
Gaming is definitely more acceptable now, but
Right.
yeah, I guess. I mean, I think it started transitioning in the 90s. Certainly in the 80s, it was more like a dorky thing to do, to like hang out at the arcade with all your buddies. And
Well, I think the 90s, they started progressing things, and that's like you were saying with VR, and they started looking into these different options. I remember my uncle one time got me, it was a virtual reality headset. This would have been definitely the 90s. It was for Christmas when I was young. And it was this band that went around your head, and it had like a little screen, but in front of your face flipped down this basically like a red mirror.
Looked like a welder.
Yeah, in a way, but it was small, and then it connected to a controller. And I don't know if it only had one game, but I only played the one game. But I think it was just a racing game.
Oh, okay.
And the virtual reality part, I guess, was that it projected it onto this little mirror type thing.
Okay.
And it was a little 3D because it was up in your face.
Do you remember? I think it was called the Virtual Boy.
I remember it.
Like it was like almost like a helmet.
Yeah.
I don't think it had a top, but it was like, and you could play kind of like, what you call it, where it's just basic shapes. It's like Star Fox, but without all the graphics, kind of, That was like the first kind of VR thing I remember. Yeah, that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I remember. They must have had it at some store or something, like you could test it or whatever. But I like that in the movie, there's nothing necessarily technological about how he is experiencing all this. It's just, it's almost like like conditioning, like Clockwork Orange style, where they're just like showing you images and then it's just affecting your subconscious.
I like the fact that you see him doing the killings, and he's going through all of this like drama-ish type stuff that's him almost being caught, him doing more killings. Trickster is forcing him to keep killing. Yeah. He doesn't have an option, and then he's almost caught. And then you find out that none of it happened. Like all of it was the game. Yeah. And I really like that. But then you do have the twist after the credits. Or during the credits, where Trickster comes in and he says something like, "Hold up, you didn't show it all," or something like that. Yeah. And the dog carries the foot that had been buried, and is just sitting there with the foot. So it almost leaves you like, so what?
I like the little stinger. Yeah, that was cool.
Aren't you forgetting something?
When Trickster says that, it's pretty cool. Travis, your thoughts at all? Something?
I actually feel like this would be a really good movie to try to remake. And usually I'm not one for remaking movies. Yeah. But I feel like they could, if it's in the right hands, I feel like this could be done really well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, wasn't there like, what was it? It was like all on Facebook or something? Unfriended.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, yeah. Unfriended. That's a good one. That's
my favorite video game horror movie is Stay Alive, though.
Oh, Stay Alive. Okay.
I remember that
I've never
one.
seen that one.
Frankie Muniz.
Frankie Muniz.
We talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah. I remember.
I love Frankie Muniz.
But I think, and it might just be because of the time period or something, but I think this movie just is really fun the way it's done.
Yes.
Although it was a critical and financial failure. It was withdrawn from cinemas after only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so it was a major flop.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it was, I didn't think it like won any awards or anything.
That one got the video pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think it's a.
I mean, it's kind of developed a little bit of a cult following. I think people. There's a collector's edition Blu-ray of it. So
right, yeah, and I guess there are. I mean, that's what happens with movies. I mean, Hocus Pocus was a failure, and it became a big thing.
Blade Runner was a failure. Right.
Did that become a big thing? Well, yeah, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yes.
Never mind. I was thinking of Running Man.
Oh, very different.
I think the reason I was thinking of Running Man is I came across a VHS of Running Man at Goodwill the other day, and I almost bought it just for the fact.
Nice.
But I was picturing that, and I was like, Running Man did not become a huge thing.
Running Man has kind of hit cult classic status.
It has, yeah. It's become
really like Running Man.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's not Blade.
It's not Blade Runner.
It's not like hitting the AFI top 100 or anything.
Yeah.
Neither is Hocus Pocus.
I mean, it got a second movie.
That's fighting words. If you
so did Blade
put that
Runner
out there,
that's my point.
Okay.
Way to prove my point, Josh.
All the Disney adults will be angry at you about Hocus Pocus.
That's true.
No, I'll let him.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a Disney adult. I just like Hocus Pocus.
You're a Hocus Pocus adult.
This is true. Yeah, brain scan. Do you have more to say about Brainscan?
What was it that appealed to both of you to pick it? Like,
I just love how cheesy it is.
okay.
It's just a whole. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a fever dream almost.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird movie, but
it is weird, and I think that's what I like about it is it's
offbeat.
It's offbeat, but it's got a good little story. It has a twist,
and it plays with some of the conventions. Like I like how they work in the first person killer Steadicam shot, like opening a Halloween.
And that's one thing I really remembered from that movie.
Yeah, which they was done a ton in the 80s with slasher movies. It's kind of like it's a stereotype at that point.
Yeah, but for some reason in this movie it just felt a little different. And I don't know if it's because he's supposedly playing a game, so you're seeing him playing a game kind of thing. But I like that, and I find Trickster really interesting. Like I like him as a bad guy. He's funny. He's I don't know. His whole aesthetic is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird off-putting look.
Yeah.
Like it's like a stretched, smushed face and the hair.
It's very weird.
So if you had to pick a scene, what would be your favorite scene?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. A brain scan. Probably I guess I don't know.
Travis?
Well, I really like the first kill when he's over top of it was some old man and he's standing there and he's like, no, I can't. And then he finally,
it's like scissors or something.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, the kills are like pretty intense.
That's what I was gonna. I mean, that's what I would go with is that first kill scene because it really. I mean, it's bloody.
Yeah, and you can't really tell if it's like, is this actually happening?
Right, and it's before you learn much about it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of a gruesome murder, and then after it happens, it basically switches to him hearing about it on the news.
And it's like, oh wow,
that was a good transition. Honestly, thinking about it, like I kind of think it would have been better without Trickster.
The movie?
Yeah, just the whole concept without a. He
just seems like a mascot.
Yeah, it's like the little devil on your shoulder.
Yeah,
kind of character. I almost would have,
but
it to have been a little bit more cerebral.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that,
and just be like you would just be alone with Eddie Furlong in this room. Yeah. Kind of.
I could see that.
Like more
I mean, it's fine the way it is. Like Trickster's at least it's an entertaining character.
Yeah, but I think it hits that. Yeah, I think it hits that pivotal point though, where he is like, okay, I'm really murdering people. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where the Trickster character comes in because that's what forces him to continue playing.
Eggs him on,
because without him, he would have just stopped playing the games and you wouldn't have the rest of the movie.
But like favorite scene, I guess I don't know. I like the setup and stuff with him in the apartment. I thought that was fun, just like a nice nostalgia trip. And I like the ending. Like you said, like the little button at the end in the credits, and the like where he kind of wakes up and realizes that was all
part of the game.
All part of the game,
Which was a neat little twist. I mean, I think honestly, I kind of forgot about that twist.
I did
and too. So when I was watching again, it's a nice twist. I think it works well. I think they did it well.
They could have done it either. They could have gone either way. I think it still would have worked. But I mean, that's a pretty good concept then if you can do that, and it kind of works with both. If you went both ways with the ending, but I like the little button that it keeps. It's like the Jack Nicholson in the picture at the end of The Shining. It's like a little.
And same thing with, okay, so it was all in his mind. It was all a game, even the being chased by police and blah, blah, blah. Like all that was a game. But then he takes the game and gives it to the principal. And when he does that, Trickster like appears either in his mind or in his eye, whatever. However, the Trickster's there. And it's almost a reminder like of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's passing on the Trickster now. And I thought that was an interesting shot too.
Could be where like when he wakes up then he's still in the game.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Because
it's kind of vague.
That'd be cool.
It doesn't really lead you one way
which
or
I kind of like. Sometimes I don't like it to be super vague, but this
it's a nice balance.
Yeah. Because then you like the Trickster, says you forgot something, and then there's the foot, and you're like, oh well.
He did kill all those people.
Yeah.
Speaking
Like,
of
who
the
knows?
foot, though, the practical effects actually don't look terrible, which I remember them
No.
looking worse.
I mean,
Yeah,
in
no.
general, like practical effects are going to age better at this point in time than any kind of digital effects.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you see that in this movie because
you
the
see
practical
the-
effects aren't bad, and then the digital effects are horrible.
Yeah.
They're
They might have been
Not good.
okay at the time.
no, they weren't.
Oh, okay.
Not even
said
not
no.
even 1994. Like this is after T2 and like Jurassic Park and stuff. So it's like
Oh, okay.
this stuff. What they're trying to do is not
Well, that's why it failed.
not bad. Even in '94, if
why
I'd
it went
seen
out
this,
2
I'd be
weeks.
like, this is nonsense. What is this?
Yeah.
What,
I love it. I think it gives it character. I love that
I mean,
it's bad.
it's definitely
Me
like puts
too.
it in its place. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about movies is like there's so much work that gets done, especially on like a genre film like a fantasy or sci-fi or
Right.
horror that never makes it to the screen.
Yeah.
The Thing 2.
The 2011 film.
hmm
Yeah.
There were originally practical effects made for every effect in the movie.
Yeah. And
They
they
went digital. And then, so the company that made the practical effects made this terrible movie called Harbinger Down
Oh, gosh.
But-
With all those
with all those
effects.
effects. The effects are really great.
Oh.
movie's terrible, but
Oh.
yeah.
Harbinger Down's a terrible movie, but the effects are good.
I wonder how much they have on the cutting room floor for Survivor.
Survivor.
Yeah.
Like the TV show.
Mhm.
There are a lot of practical effects in Survivor.
I just mean in general. I bet you there's a ton on
Oh,
the
I
cutting
mean,
room
there's
floor.
definitely
Well, yeah, they're
a
shooting
ton,
these people like 24 hours a
Yeah.
day.
Definitely a ton of.
So
Footage that
if
doesn't
the-
make it on
if the
TV.
episode's 42 minutes. You have about 23 hours and 18 minutes of footage that's not
Right.
You're not seeing.
Yeah, because it's basically a day.
So I mean, maybe
A
they'll
lot.
do that for your Survivor people, and they'll just put it all out on streaming. It's 24-hour stream.
Well, they could. Yeah,
Poor
I would
editor.
so watch that.
What?
Their poor editor.
Oh yeah.
That has to be horrible.
24 hours into 1 hour.
I
2 hours into 1 hour.
I would totally subscribe to like a 24-hour
Live feed.
cam.
You would
of
subscribe to a
Survivor.
Truman Show of
Yeah,
Survivor.
basically. Yeah, they
It'd
did
be a lot
that.
of them just
um,
laying around.
They did it with
All
Utopia.
the the music just comes in and nothing really happens. You don't see anything.
I did it.
It's from the
So-
Truman, that's from the Truman Show.
There was a TV show called Utopia, and they had a 24-hour feed, and it was like $5 or something. And while Utopia was on, I literally, no matter what I was doing, my computer was nearby with the 24-hour feed.
Oh,
on.
you're like one of these Big Brother live feed people that just
I was.
sat around.
I was for Utopia.
You're one of them.
I was.
Well, there's some of these people. I'm like, man, they're just sitting watching Big Brother live feeds
You just
all
sit and watch
day
other
for
people
4
talking.
months.
I did. But I mean, I would like play video games or I'd watch something else but it was just always there and I'd like glance at it. And then one night, all the cameras went black. It turned out it was in the middle of the show, but the show got canceled in the middle of the night. And I forget the reasoning. I'd have to go back and look, but it was to the fact that they literally shut off the cameras, pulled the people, told them like, hey, this can't keep going. And like, you just didn't hear anything
What
about it
happened?
anymore.
Like,
Well, here's how it went. It's like, well, we've got like 3 people that are watching this thing. I don't know if this is going to keep the lights on.
I don't-
we should give them their
We're just-
$5
We're
back.
just going
and
to turn
just,
it off.
I absolutely love that show. I wish
Shut
they
it
do it
down.
again.
Did you get your money back at least?
No.
You should at least got like $1
We're
back.
still charging him $5 a month.
It's been off the air for 10
He
years.
just hasn't noticed. I keep getting this PayPal bill for.
$5.
I should probably check and make sure that's not true.
But
That was a long strain from Brainscan.
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, but I mean, it's tying into like
Cutting room floor.
virtual reality, kind of like you
Yeah.
escape into another reality, whether it's real
That's
or like
true.
some sort of a simulation.
Yeah, Survivor's real, Josh.
No, it's
real.
Not. It's not real.
It's real.
Real-ish.
not. It's
It's
edited.
real-ish.
It's
Okay,
edited
there-
content.
There are
for
some editing
drama.
tactics that they use.
Well,
but
not
To
just
be
that.
fair,
There's
I can
it-
edit this into an episode of Survivor. Like, it would work. Like,
I mean, they
how real it is.
they prompt these people to do
They
these
do.
things.
Well,
of
I mean, it's
course.
not like if you really just dropped like a dozen people on an island.
They'd kill each other.
I mean, yeah, with no
Maybe.
food. If you dropped them on an island with no food, yes, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, like if you really did this, it would be boring as hell because it would just be.
Oh, yeah. You
people
have
What
to
just
they
like,
cut out is boring.
Let's just cut it. Okay, let's cut a stick. We'll get some fish, and then it's just them slowly dying.
Well, I think with any reality show, you do have where the producers like stir stuff up.
Yeah,
So
the
you
fun
have like,
part.
yeah. So on Survivor, when they do those interviews, you don't hear the questions they ask that prompt the answers.
You don't hear the guy that goes, "Oh yeah, everybody's fine. I'm having a great time."
Right.
They get edited out of the episode.
Aaron and Travis are secretly getting their wish. This is the Make-A-Wish
podcast
episode of Real
about
Opposites.
Reality TV.
This is the Make-A-Wish episode of Real Opposites,
Make-A-Wish.
where they finally get their podcast about Survivor.
Yes.
And I'm just going to exit the room.
Hey, we
And
gave
let
you
them
Casino
have it.
Royale.
Yeah.
Back to Brainscan.
Yes.
It was fun. I liked it. Thank you for recommending it.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I like I said, I thought it was odd that you'd never seen it.
Yeah, because I should have seen it.
Yeah,
It-
it's just
it
a
would've-
fun little horror.
It's just
Drama,
one of
I
those
don't
like
know.
you know,
Kind of B-movie.
it's like it's on the
Yes,
video shelf
very-
and it's like it's there and like it might look pretty cool, but then I'm like, no, I'll just watch The Shining again.
Right.
You know,
That's
or-
fair. It's like, oh, Silence of the Lambs or Brain Scan. It's
Yeah.
But I think Brainscan, like I said, this was, I was re-watching
We're
it.
watching it.
It was good the
It
second
was
time around.
good, yeah.
Like
It's a fun movie.
yeah.
And it has some.
I'm so
it's
glad
had-
I've recommended it as well.
Yeah, it has some. It has some cool ideas, and it's generally pretty well executed. And
Yeah.
good movie.
Does it go into your B movie archives?
I'm not even sure it's like a B movie, really.
That's like it's
I'd
a
say it's
weird-
a
It's on the
it's a
verge.
weird-
Like
It's on
an
the verge.
A- movie.
Maybe like a B plus.
B plus
A B
movie.
plus
Yeah.
But it's like
Okay.
it's
That's not
it's
bad.
not like because I like B movie to me is like it's. I mean, yeah, it's like
Salty.
it's cheesy, like, and they kind of know what they're making.
Is Thanksgiving a B movie?
No, Thanksgiving it's
F.
Thanksgiving
they
is-
don't have a letter low enough.
Thanksgiving is like it's a bastardization of a B movie, like something like
Yeah.
That's
that.
fair.
I think it feels like it's like Sharknado, right? Like
Yeah.
intentionally.
Oh, I love
making that
Sharknado.
I hate.
to mark a B movie for me, and I think Josh is
Yeah.
also about. They have to have tried to make a good movie and failed.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have to make a good B movie. You have to genuinely try to make a good movie.
Right.
You know,
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Troll 2.
like Troll 2. That's a great example.
That is a great B movie.
That director,
the director
really
belie-
thought he was
that
making
director
a masterpiece.
believes he made Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Like-
he still believes that.
Yeah, and to this
Yeah.
day, and it's like so it gives it like a unique quality that like you can't get from. Oh, let's just make a really stupid movie.
Right.
It feels
You know,
more
what-
genuine.
Yeah, and it's like you can even tell that there's like Troll 2, as bad as it is, there's still some sort of a passion behind the film,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know. And even like we were talking about Commando is a B movie, and they know what they're making,
Mhm.
and there's real love for the goofy stuff that they're putting on screen.
Right.
It's so
And,
good.
and it's acted to, and that's the thing is like when we get to the acting too is like with a B movie you have to play it straight. You can't let the audience know that you're in a B movie. It's
Right,
like,
exactly.
You have to be like Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun, like like you're there's so much ridiculous stuff, but you have to play it straight.
Mhm.
I don't even know if Brainscan's a B movie. I think it's just a pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to make. I mean, they were trying to make a good
Hey.
movie. and
They
did.
were.
I think they made a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I think
And
it
it's
does
not
come
like-
out as a decent movie.
And it's not like one of those that's like, super cheesy or anything. I mean, Trickster kind of definitely verges like,
He feels a little cheesy.
yeah, that's what I say. It kind of feels like from a different movie.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like it would have been a little bit better if you'd cast maybe like, Christian Bale could play anything. But he would have been like the right age, like actually at that
Yeah.
point. And he was a great actor at that point anyway. But like it would have been more cerebral, more just like all taking place in his
Right.
in the one room in his head
Yeah.
and all that. But as it is, like Trickster is memorable though, so
He's very memorable.
I think it works.
He is.
It's a good movie. Much better than what I thought it would be.
I'm glad to hear that. I do think it's a good movie. I think it's a fun movie to share as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's like not a lot. It's not like the Evil Dead or something that is
Everybody
really
knows
well
at this
known.
point, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't know. Going back to me trying to figure out what this movie was back in the day,
Yeah.
nobody knows
I-
this movie. Really.
I remember you like talking to me about it like in the first few weeks I started working.
because
was
you were
like-
all about movies.
I know, and I was, but yeah, you were like,
Anyways,
you're
you
like,
liked
there's this
movies a lot.
movie with this guy with red hair, and it's like this kid, and it's like I
And
was
you're
like,
a killer playing
I
a
was
video
like-
game.
I was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Now you know.
Yeah, now I
the
know.
next
Now I've
person that
seen
comes
it.
up and says that, you'll be like,
Brain scan.
brain scanning, it's good.
That'll probably happen today.
All right. So that wraps us up for this episode with Brain Scan and Casino Royale. I want to thank Travis for being a guest this time. Thank you, Travis, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
And Travis will actually be back with us for our December 1st episode of Real Opposites. But until then, the next episode for November 15th will actually be just Josh and I again. Yep. And we're going to just choose movies.
Yep.
So I have chosen August Rush for you.
Okay. That's actually supposed to be a good movie. I haven't seen it. So.
Yeah. It has Robin Williams. It has Freddie Highmore, who I love. I liked him as a child actor, and I like him as an adult actor as well. And it's just, I feel like it's going to be kind of a good little Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah,
it kind of revolves around relationships and family, and actually music is a big part of it.
I'm looking forward to that. I've heard it's a good movie.
All right.
I haven't seen it.
And what do I have to watch?
I've picked The Crow for you, which is not a Thanksgiving movie.
No.
There is a lot of music in the movie, a lot of awesome music.
Well, there we go. Music movies.
And I'm amazed you haven't seen it because it's a really great movie.
Yeah. I've always been told I should watch it and that I would like it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I am excited to watch that one and see what I think of it.
There's a lot in that movie.
Yeah.
And we can talk a lot about like the history of it too.
Okay.
Like what, the tragedy and everything. But
right.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's like was a huge part of my teenage years, as I think it was for a lot of kids at that age.
Yeah. I can remember people doing The Crow for Halloween a lot.
That was the last time I went for Halloween was The Crow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was probably like maybe a little bit too old. And I was like, I want to do The Crow one last time.
Okay, first of all, you're never too old to dress up for Halloween. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, when you're going to houses at trick or treat, maybe.
Yeah, that's different. You can get too old for trick or treat.
When you're like, let's see, maybe like 13 and maybe close to 6 feet tall, you're probably too old to be doing it.
They're like, you're 30, don't come here. So until then, I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And this has been Real Opposites. South Charleston Public Library presents Real Opposites,
an SCPL production.
Featuring Aaron Harper, Josh Hill, and anyone we can get to participate.
Editing and production by Toby Wilson.
Director, same person.
Library director and voiceover, Todd Duncan.
Logo, Casey Brotherton.
Costume design, Our Closets.
Makeup and special effects, we don't need it because this is a podcast.
Location, South Charleston, West Virginia.
Jokes and dulcet tones, Aaron Harper.
Encyclopedic movie knowledge, Josh Hill.
Any jobs not listed, Toby probably did.